Hello. If you are renting in Clayton, North Carolina, please do not rent from Emory Howard. One of the reasons being, you got a leak. You called in for it months ago. It's leaking on me. He doesn't come in to fix it. You got black mold coming through over all your ceilings. You have dips in the floor where it's starting to fall through. Water leaks so bad that the whole floor has come up. And I called him about this limb months ago when it was still on this tree hanging over the house. And I was telling him this thing is about to fall. Maybe we could get somebody to come in here to fix it. So it fell. And it is one of the reasons that the leak is caused in that bedroom. And when I had called him about it months before it fell, he decided he didn't want to do anything about it. Oh, and by the way, here's a sneak peek of the type of neighbors you're going to have to deal with.
Like you be shaking the whole house, man.
Hey, the law says 10 o'clock.
Don't come in my yard.
12 o'clock.
Don't come in my yard. Don't come in my yard. Do not come in my yard.
What the fuck up, white cracker?
Oh, I'm a cracker. Good job.
Yeah, you a white-ass cracker.
Ooh. Yeah. This is all on video, buddy.
And a lot of these issues I have called in like months, even years ago. Technically, I've been on this lease for 4 years. Part of it where my mom was here and I wasn't, and part of it where I was here. And on several occasions, we have both called for maintenance to come out and fix these issues. And nothing has been done about really any of it. So that has been a major issue. If you want to rent from him, chances are you're not going to get maintenance until he's going to evict you and fix it up for the next person, which is what I'm going through right now. Is during the pandemic, I had lost 2 different positions and jobs. And I kind of had to go through this time where I had to get rent assistance. And the rent assistance for me paid enough money to my landlord to get me through February. Well, here I am getting a notice on Christmas that I am being evicted. On a note, I'm being evicted and I need to be out by January 30th. And when I called, he said he couldn't give me a reason as to why I'm being evicted. He doesn't need to. He legally doesn't have to. And that didn't make sense. I'm like, but if it's an eviction, you need to give me a reason as to why I'm getting evicted. What cause am I getting evicted? So then he hangs up on me, just rudely. I was still talking and he hangs up on me. And then I call him the next day and I said, look, why am I being evicted? He says, you're not being evicted. I'm breaking the lease. And I said, well, that's not what you said yesterday. You said yesterday I was being evicted. So what is it? You're breaking the lease now and I have to be out the 30th, but I still have money paid for February for rent and I'm going to need that money back. And he says, well, you said the reason I'm evicting you is you said when the rent assistance is up that you'll find something else. And during this time, you're stacking money to leave. And I said, I've never had a conversation like that with him. Never had a conversation about that with him. And truthfully, it kind of pissed me off because none of that came out of my mouth where I said I'm leaving on February or whatever. And even if it is waiting for my rent assistance to be up like he said, well, then I got money paid through February. So it wouldn't make sense to say I need to be out January 30th. Mind you, this guy is an old guy. A lot of shit is made up when he talks about it. Like I'm telling you, half of the stuff he says is like, no, that didn't happen. No, that's not what happened. So I try to give him a benefit of a doubt because he's an older guy. But let's just face it. When stuff's not getting done, when he doesn't call the maintenance guy out to fix these issues, and some of these issues have been going on for a couple of years, it's kind of crazy, especially when a lot of times before the need of rent assistance, we was paying him months in advance. He had money months in advance. And when I claimed rent assistance, he tried to claim months, that 2 months that were I have already paid for, so he would get more money and I would get less months paid for. So yeah, he's kind of money hungry. And after receiving the benefits that say it will stretch till February, he decides to up the rent by almost $100. So then my rent assistance would cover less months and he would get more money because he's money hungry. So that's why I'm just letting y'all know, beware. The man is all about his money to the point that he will literally screw with the system after getting benefits. You're not allowed to do that. But forewarning, he believes he can do all that because his daughter is a judge. I'm telling you, he feels like he just has all the power in the world because his daughter is a judge. And as far as living in any of his neighborhoods, these are not the greatest people out here. If you watched any of my previous videos, it's literally a mess. Like they right across the street here, and I'll show you. Right across the street over here. That house right there. All he does is sit right there in that front yard, that side yard, and shoot shotguns, shoot pistols all day. The neighbors over here, they just blast music. It's loud, it's loud, it's loud. You know what I mean? You're just not going to sleep in any of these neighborhoods because there's not an ordinance in place to keep everybody quiet. And nothing gets done about it. You know what I mean? It's just is what it is. So it's a loud neighborhood. You don't get your peace. The neighbors don't leave you alone. The landlord doesn't take care of any of the issues in this house. So I'm just going to let you know, if you want to rent in Clayton, maybe look outside of Clayton. Like maybe these neighboring towns like Smithfield, Garner, something like that. If you're looking for a little bit cheaper rent, because as far as cheap rent in Clayton, I mean, you kind of get what you pay for. You know, the landlord, he just don't care. He don't care about issues. Oh, and another issue, if you basically, he has this thing where he cuts your grass and he charges you like an extra, I think it's $25-50 a month. And he cuts your grass through the summertime. You would think you pay $25-50 a month and you have to pay it all year. So through the winter, fall, when there's no grass being grown, you know what I mean? You're paying through those months. You would think that if you're paying $25-50 a month, that, you know, your grass is going to get cut, you know, pretty decently, right? Last summer, and I'm telling you, grass needs cut like at least like once a week, how bad it is. Last summer, he cut the grass a total of 3 times, to the point that the grass was growing past my knees up to my hips is how long it was getting. And that's not an exaggeration. So I feel like if I'm paying a guy between $25 and $50 every month for 12 months, and most of that there's not even grass, that I should not have grass growing past up to my hip, right? Because if I'm paying for it, right? But you do have the option not to pay for it and just cut your own grass, which I wish I did. But when I made the agreement, I was still paying through the winter. So I said, you know what? He just gonna have to cut it. You know what I mean? He could just deal with it, whatever, you know? Because I paid through the winter, why would I opt out? So anyways, yeah, that's the sad case of Emory Howard and his landlordism, whatever, slumlord, whatever. Been here for 4 years, and he has not dealt with not a damn thing in this house. He's not fixed a thing in this house. And he's got this guy across the street because he wanted to find a reason to evict me. He's got this guy across the street. I don't know if you can see it on here. I might have to take another separate video. But he has a camera pointing right at me, and he reports and talks to this guy to find out any information where he can evict me out there. And obviously they can't get none. So they threaten me with eviction and say it's just breaking the lease. But he really just want to take all my money for February and then put somebody else in while I'm moving out when Johnson County already paid him the money for rent. So now I got to figure out in 30 days where I'm going to live in a state that pretty much makes you pay 3 payments. Every house I've looked at recently around here is like, okay, to move in, you got to pay rent and deposit, which is normal, right? But then they have this whole other payment that they added. It's like basically paying the rent 3 times in 1 month. And I tell you, here in North Carolina, at the end of your lease, you're not getting that. You're not getting the deposit. You're not getting any of that, even if your house looks brand spanking new when you leave. So just beware of the landlords out here, because through this pandemic and through the increases in taxes or whatever, they're raising the price on rent, and they're still not even doing the bare minimum that they're supposed to do to take care of these houses. So be careful, man. And next time, see y'all later. See that little camera on that porch right there? Yeah, that little creep has that shit pointed directly at my house. And not pointing at his driveway or seeing who's coming in the driveway, who's walking on his porch. It's right there pointing at my house to watch everything I do and record everything I do. And he literally like was calling the cops on us and just telling them every move we make, everything we do in my house. Like, it is pointing directly at my house. So anything I do, he sends that shit right to the fucking landlord. Anything going on, he sends that shit right to the fucking landlord. Like, bro, this motherfucker is a creep.